Well, good morning, everybody. Today we're going to make some little smokies or pigs in a blanket. And first I am going to preheat my oven to 375. Going to let that be heating up while I'm over here preparing my little pigs in the blanket. I'm using today 1 can of crescent rolls. See if I can get these open. Well, first of all, I'm going to put just a tiny bit of flour on my board here to keep them from sticking. Don't need much. Probably don't even really need a lot because it's on a pastry. It's on a pastry mat. Get these completely out. See where I can start unrolling these things at. I don't want to tear them up. I'm just using a pizza cutter. I'm going to stretch these out a little bit. You can actually roll them out. I'm not going to use my rolling pin for this because it's so big. And what I'm going to do is just roll these out a little bigger because I cut each one in half. I mean, you can use the whole one on there if you want, but if you roll them and widen them a little bit, they'll be fine. And as you can see, you don't even need a rolling pin. You can use a glass, anything that's smooth and round, to kind of spread them out a little bit. Get a good amount of flour on there so it doesn't stick. We'll do half of them at a time. Get a knife to open that package. Well, I think I'll go ahead and do them all. That way I'll have the dough rolled out. I won't have to mess with it. That's just doubling your use of your crescent rolls. Instead of putting all of that on one, you're going to make two out of each one. And they don't have to be too wide. Your little smokies are not that wide. Take a little smoky and I'm going to put him right at the widest part and then roll it up. Doesn't have to be too fancy. These are so easy to make and they're so good. I mean, you can cut them in 3 parts. Some people do. I cut them in 2. Like this one probably could have been cut. Just start at the wide end and work your way to the point, rolling it up. If you're making them for a party or something like that, you might want to get two cans of crescent rolls to 1 package of little sausages, or if you cut them in 3, it'll make all of them. But I cut them in 2, so. Just trying to get some of this off of my fingers. Now I'm going to put about 3 or 4 tablespoons of butter in the microwave just to melt it a little bit. Oh, probably about 30 seconds. 20 maybe. Doesn't take long. It only took about 10 seconds to soften it. Now what I'm going to do is just see, if you'd cut the pastries in 3, you would have got 8 more. But we're just going to brush them with butter. Oh, and I did put parchment paper in my pan. That way I don't have to grease the pan or anything like that for them not to stick. But just coat them real good with butter. Now, you can use any kind of salt you want, just regular sea salt, regular salt, or I'm using Himalayan pink salt. It's a coarse salt that you have to grind in the grinder here. But like I said, you can use any kind of salt you want. And I'm just going to take my fingers and I'm going to sprinkle some salt on each one. The coarse salt is a little better because it's kind of like the salt that you put on pretzels. But you can use any kind of salt. It really doesn't matter. Just get a little bit of salt on each one. There you go. That should be enough. Should be plenty of salt. And now we're simply going to put them in the oven on 375 for about 12 to 15 minutes. Oh, let's see. I was going to set my timer. I'm going to set it for 12 minutes and then I'm going to check them. See if I can put these other ones in. Get them out of the package and get them stored in that. But like I said, if you'd have cut them each section, each crescent roll in 3 and kind of pressed it out a little bit, you'd have had probably enough to do all of them. I just chose to cut it in 2. So instead of having 8, I had 16, 17, because I think I cut one in 3. Get that flour off of my mat. And I've got flour all over the place. But you can see how easy it is to make those. I'm just going to clean my mat off while we wait. So if you have a party coming up or a movie night at home, this is certainly something you can fix to have a nice movie night at home. You can have your other refreshments to go with your little sausages. Leave that up there for right now. And I didn't even use all the butter. You can use them as a snack. You can use them as a breakfast. Something to fix for brunch. Get it turned around over here. And I have not put my dishes away. Yep, they're rising up nicely. They should be done in probably about 7 minutes. So yeah, don't forget, you can use any kind of salt. You don't necessarily have to have Himalayan pink salt or sea salt. You can use regular salt. Whatever salt you have available is fine. You don't have to use parchment paper, but I prefer to so they don't stick to the pan. It's an easier pan cleanup. You can just lightly grease a regular pan and just place them on the pan if you want. You can use ketchup and mustard for a dip. It's up to you. I like to put a little bit of ketchup in my dish. Put a little bit of mustard in there. And I like to just mix it up. You can use spicy mustard and ketchup, just any of it you want to use. We've got about 3 more minutes to wait. You know what? I think that would look better on a bigger plate. So that's what I'm going to do. Put it on a bigger plate. Because I like to put my maybe do it this way. Put my dipping sauce right in the center. That way, if you're going to serve it like at a party as an appetizer or just a condiment, appetizer for dinner, a snack, even breakfast, it looks good on a plate with the sauce in the center. It's just up to you. A few more minutes and they'll be done. They just need to brown a little bit. If you have any tips or tricks on making these, let me know. I'm trying to cough again. But just let me know in the comments. They're real simple to make. I mean, anybody can really make these. But next time I might cut them in 3. Each crescent roll, just slice it in 3 the long way. Spread it out a little bit and then roll the meat up, because that way I could have used all of my sausages. And I would have had, you know, a third more. But I can find a use for my other sausages. You can always change things up. Yeah, let me know in the comments if you ever made pigs in a blanket. Did you do them any differently than what I've done? I'd like to know. Any more little tips or tricks on making them that I don't know? I'm always anxious to learn more tips and tricks on cooking, baking, making anything really. 2 minutes. Two minutes and they should be good. Yeah, something like a horseradish mustard or fancy mustard would be real good to mix it in a little bit of ketchup. I just put like half and half and mix it together. Real easy. Well, like I said, let me know in the comments if you do anything differently. I would really like to know. I can't wait. I love pigs in the blanket. That's going to be my breakfast and lunch today, is pigs in the blanket. Because I got up kind of late, so. It's a beautiful sunshiny day out there today. It's a little chilly because we did have a good freeze last night. There's ice in my bird baths this morning to prove how cold it got. So I guess it got every bit of 31 degrees or lower last night. "25 seconds." Yeah, this is the coldest night I think we've had so far. So I know everything in my garden froze. There we go. Well, they need to stay in there just a little bit longer. Because they're not quite brown enough. I really want them a little bit browner. And even the time that you set your oven to is not rocket science. I mean, if the recipe calls for 375 for 12 to 15 minutes and they don't get brown enough, you can always turn it up a little bit to maybe 400 degrees. Leave them in there a few more minutes so they brown. Everybody's oven doesn't heat up quite as hot as other people's, depending on where you live. I think it'll take every bit of the 15 minutes and not the 12. But I always set the timer at the lowest length of time to be safe. I check my item that I've got in the oven to see how brown it's getting. If it's not brown enough, then I go ahead and cook it the other length of time. So in this case, it is going to be 15 minutes. And it might help too to put it on the top rack. I've got mine on the middle rack. That's usually where I cook most of the stuff that I bake in the oven. Normally I would stop the video and then start it back again, but then I have to piece the video together. And since it's only a matter of a minute or so, I'm not going to stop the video. Yeah, they need to be just a little bit longer. Not much. I mean, they don't have to be cooked really brown. It's just up to you how brown you make them. I like mine a golden brown. I don't know about you folks. Yep, they're getting there. They are getting there. Maybe one of these days I'll get a camera that has pause on it so I don't have to completely stop the video and start it again. I can just pause it. That way the video will continue, but I can pause some of the time out of it. I don't have that capability right now. So you folks will have to bear with me. I mean, it doesn't take that long to cook them, so really doesn't take that long to make them from start to finish. I think they're good. They're brown. They're not really dark brown, but they're brown. A little hot. And presentation is usually everything. And there you go. There's my pigs in a blanket that only took about half hour or so to do from start to finish. But I'm going to enjoy these today. I know they're too hot to eat right now. Pretty warm. But there you go, y'all. Pigs in a blanket my way. I want to try one of these, but I know it's too hot. Hot. That is so good. And just enough, a little bit of that salt on it with the butter to make it really, really good. Try dipping the other end of it in my ketchup mixture. Woo! You'll have to forgive me. That is so hot. I had to keep moving it in my mouth because it's so hot. But it's so good with that little bit of ketchup mustard mixture and that salt and butter on your roll, with your crescent roll that you wrapped your little sausage in. It's so good. So with that, I'm going to wish you a good day. See you on the next one now. Bye.